Now let's get to an interesting topic, cloud certifications. So we all know that there are like many different cloud certifications, and cloud certifications are very important to data scientist students and data engineering students. Why? Because first of all, the cloud skill will be very useful at your work. Once you find a job, it's very important to your in your work. At this point, the majority of your data science works are regarding data sources in the cloud. Most likely, you will read some data from cloud data sources, then write it back to cloud data sources. And also, the majority of data science works are running on the cloud. Like you're likely to provision some machine learning cluster, run some models, and register your model online, publish those online. So the cloud skill is essential to today's data scientists and data engineers. Now, the other important reason is cloud certification usually serves as the entry point for you to get attention from recruiters. Out of 100, 200 applicants for a job, how do you make sure that recruiters start to get interested in you? Cloud certification serves this purpose, showing that you know something about the underlying skill set. And usually, when you look at the post for entry-level data scientists and data engineers, very likely there will be a requirement for certain cloud certification. Having this certification will help you get into the first run. Of course, after that, once you start the second run, third run, talking to the technical team, you do need to have all the skills that they want. But without cloud certifications, you wouldn't even have this chance. So there are so we said the cloud certifications are important, but then there are many certifications, right? You have a three cloud: AWS, GCP, Azure, and the other smaller cloud sets, so vendors. Then within each vendor there are a bunch of certifications. You may have 10, you may have 12, you may have 62. Um, how do you know which one is suitable for you? Uh, in the following slide, I'm only listing what the certifications that I think is relevant for your career as a data scientist or data engineer, and somewhat touch the cloud skills if you want to be a cloud engineer. That's relatively relevant too. But one thing to keep in mind is each certification costs time and money. So, for example, if you are taking 10 certifications, very likely the average price is like 100, beyond 100 to 200, probably 150. So, 10 certifications will cost you 150, I mean 1,500. So you need to choose the path carefully. And besides, it, it takes a lot of time to prepare and to study. Of course, then the technology itself is useful, but I don't think it's worthwhile to get to every detail of all the cloud offerings. You should always focus on what you want to do. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to have a overall introduction of the cloud certifications for AWS, GCP, and Azure. And after that, I'm going to give one slide of discussing what's the right path of taking certifications. So if you look at this chart, the cloud certification hierarchy, I put all the core cloud skills in the bottom right corner. These are the cloud core skills. This starting from foundations, including the understanding of what cloud is, why cloud is important, what cloud can do for you, what services, what the major services provided by the cloud. On top of that, you have a cloud, right? So you will develop your application on the cloud. So there is one check called developer, which in charge of creating applications on the cloud. Then once the application is created, you will run this in the cloud. You will operate the cloud and manage the cloud and manage different services and managing your application. This is what the administrator wants to do. And between these two, there is a DevOps process where the applications will be rolled out to the administrator. And these days, application development is closely associated with operation. You want to be agile, you want to quickly do development and quickly do deployment. This is where the DevOps comes in. So uh, on top of the cloud foundations, there's one check of doing development, there's one check of doing management and administration. And on top of these two, there's a more advanced topic of getting DevOps. Then on top of cloud fundamentals, there's also another check called solution architect. With all the services you have, you already learned some cloud services, right? But how do you use each service in what environment? Like when you do compute, do you choose virtual machine? Do you choose container? Do you choose the serverless function? So all these you need to understand their advantages and the disadvantages, and compare and contrast, deciding which one fits the business use case best. So this is the job of a solution architect. So cloud core skills. You need to understand cloud. You need to understand core cloud services. You need to know how to utilize cloud services and how to manage and operate the cloud the daily activity. So these are the administrator, DevOps, developers, and DevOps, and then combining different services together to form a viable solution. That's solution architect. So this is the cloud core certificate, cloud core tasks. Outside of these core tasks, there's also like to the left, we have a networking, security, and applications. These are very specific skills used to manage one specific aspect of the cloud operation, like networking, right? Different services, how do they connect to each other? And security, of course, very important and a very tricky topic. And then there's application management, certain application management, such as Office or Windows Server, etc. These things are very specialized and requires the understanding of a specific technology. So that's why in each cloud there is a certification for one of this, for each of this. Now, outside of this, there's a whole bunch of certifications that aim at data, because basically as cloud computing evolve, data operations is more and more important and is basically almost like at the core of the cloud computing now. So for data, there's data fundamentals, giving you understanding of the data flow of the CRUD process. You need to learn a little bit about Python, a little bit about SQL, a little bit about NoSQL, everything that you probably already know and you should know as a data scientist and a data engineer. And then on top of that, there's specific certifications regarding data engineering, data science, AI, machine learning, and data presentation, or maybe data analyst. You can also call it a data analyst. And finally, database administration. So these are the aspects that you will need in running your jobs and doing cloud operations in any cloud. And all clouds have some of this, most of these topics. So we are going to break down into each of these topics and show you what certifications each cloud provide. So after that, we are going to, after we introduce all the certifications, we are going to go through how to go through all these certifications. So fundamentals. AWS, GCP, Microsoft, each has some fundamentals, practitioner certification, digital leader, or Azure fundamentals. These are very simple. Basically, you should, as long as you can run some data engineering work or data scientists work on cloud on your own, you do not need these fundamentals. These are more like for outsiders or for non-technical people to have a handle on what cloud is and what they can offer you, like showing you what's the interface and how to pick services and what's the name of each most important services. Now there comes the admin and DevOps check. As you start from the on the top, there's administrator, and then there's developer, and there's DevOps. As you can see, all three clouds offer all three aspects of certification. That shows you how important these are as a core cloud skill. Starting with administrator, AWS SysOps administrator, GCP associate cloud engineer, and the Microsoft Azure administrator. They handle the fundamental administrative work, operations, monitoring, and troubleshooting of probably less so in the troubleshooting, but definitely the hands-on execution and the management and monitoring of the services. Then there's developer. How do you create the applications using a virtual machine, application service, container, or serverless function, right? So these are what the developer is about. Then there's DevOps, how to migrate, how to do CI/CD, how to migrate your continuously improve your application by deploying your change into the system and doing monitoring and debugging process. So these three aspects times in all three all three clouds that provide you with nice certifications. That is solution architect check. AWS has a solution architect associate. Then all three clouds has the solution architect professional or expert, whatever you call it. But you can clearly see that these are quite advanced. So usually these are not entry level certifications. My suggestion would be if you want to take this, it's more likely you will take this at the third year, fourth year, or fifth year of your cloud journey. So that's when you have working experience with most of the application services provided by a cloud, and then you also have some experience with the real world business cases. Combine these two. That's when you can have an understanding of what the solution is and what the solution is about, and how to become an architect for those solutions. Okay, so we talked about all the core class skills, right? On the specialty side, we have the security and the networking and the application. So you can see all clouds provide some uh, security specialty certifications. Then Microsoft, we all know that Microsoft has more offer than just Azure, so it also have a series of security certifications for the security across different products in Microsoft. So if you are not interested in Microsoft or you are not working on a security field, you may not you don't need to worry about these. Then, similar to security, all three cloud provide some specialty certification for networking. That's because basically the security and networking is something that very specialized. Um, it's specialized, but the basic idea is the same across three clouds. So all clouds must have them. And the interesting thing is, not a lot of knowledge are common among these three clouds. So interestingly, if you are interested in security and networking and you decide to choose this career path, you later on you will find that it can provide you with a long-term security, but at the same time, it's not going to provide you with a lot of different career paths. You will basically, once you decide to choose this networking or security specialty, your career will be pretty much fixed in this direction, unless you take the big effort to jump out. So Then applications. AWS does not have application related certification anymore. It used to have one for SAP, one for Alexa, but both was deactivated. But GCP has this certification on Google Workspace, and Microsoft has a certification on Azure Desktop and Windows Server and SAP. So you wouldn't need that if you are not running running applications, which is probably the case for data scientists or data engineers. Now let's get to the data fundamental check. Now I'm going to skip AWS for now, but as you can see, the data fundamentals, GCP and Microsoft, both of them offer a fundamental course which provides you with a basic understanding of data knowledge, structured data, unstructured data, SQL, Python, NoSQL, Spark, this kind of quick knowledge helping you pick up. This is most suitable for again for managers, directors that they don't do actual work but need to understand what is offered in each cloud. Then data engineering. Um, so we have the AWS data engineer and the GCP certified data engineer. For Microsoft, there used to be a DP, I think it's DPO 201, and other more than that, other certifications for data engineers, but they canceled them all. They removed them from their active course certification list, and now they focus 100% on Fabric. DP600, DP700, these two, so they are very much putting all analysis, all engineering, all the data related work, they bet everything into Microsoft Fabric. Now, Microsoft also offer more than Fabric and data engineering, right? So it basically provides you with something called data Power Platform or Power BI. If you are interested in becoming a data analyst in Microsoft, then this is the certifications that you would like to try. This help you understand Power BI, understand the Power queries, how to pull data from data sources, and how to do visualization. So but if you are not, then and most people actually don't, so you don't need to touch that. And finally, there's also DBA check where you have the database and administrator. Again, we don't AWS don't with AWS does not have a certification here, but that brings up to the AI and data science check, where AWS has a certified AI practitioner and Microsoft has a certified AI fundamentals. Then both Microsoft and the GCP has some kind of machine learning or data science associated certification. Now let's talk about AWS in specific. You can see that the AWS right now does not have a lot of data related certification, but on the machine learning side, it has a associate level certification and a specialty level certification. I think that's because my AWS is actually undergoing a reconstruction of its data series certification. AWS used to have a big data certification. It also have a data analyst certification and the DBA certification. And then it also have this machine learning specialty. Then it comes up with a machine learning associate. So as you can see, they are canceling a lot of old certifications and they are moving into a new certification check. Right now, the new certification check only contains this machine learning data engineer associate and the data engineer associate certification. But I think in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with a more data related certification. So this is something you need to pay attention on because it could change at any time. Now, there are also two active data vendors. One is Databricks, and the one is a Snowflake. So Databricks also have its own series of certifications, including data engineer and machine learning and generative AI, and then Spark. Then Snowflake also has a core certification and specialty certification for Snowpark, which is a machine learning platform. Then there's architect, data engineer, and the data scientist, etc. So with all these, how do you approach, right? I think the way we introduced